I was 75, 76. I was in the 7th grade when Title IX passed, and equal rights. I have a very high-ranking father. I have a whole lineage all the way back to Franklin Pierce, my great-great-grandfather's brother. And I told my dad, I said, you know what, these broads want equal rights. I refused to sign my civil service card for the draft because women couldn't be drafted. You throw that in. You throw in the all-woman Israelis unit that was pushing Muslims back till they found out they were getting their butts kicked by a bunch of women. And then they fought without any reservation or fear for their life and pushed back. My point, there are a lot
What is your point? I was hoping there was one here somewhere.
No, okay. My point is there are a lot of things to consider. And we have the military has been cut up so much, and I do have my honorable discharge. I did see that women got a lot of more of the paper-pushing jobs, and I wasn't okay with that.
Well, you know, let's fast. Thank you, Frank. Let's fast forward. I mean, you have women that are willing, able, and want to serve in combat, and it's just now it's a matter of exactly what the standards should be. That's really what it comes down to. You also have to look at. I mean, in 2015, I know some don't like the example of some of the other nations or police officers or firefighters, but just, go to a local gym. Look at the fitness competitions. Look at the professional athletes. Look at the college athletes. I don't think it's fair to go back to the 50s or the 60s. I mean, everyone today seems, stronger, more fit. And you didn't have that type of activity with women. I don't think there were the opportunities in physical fitness type of situations back then that there are now. 1-855-400-SAVAGE, 1-855-400-7282. Sid is listening on line 7 on WABC in New York. Sid, this is John DePetro. You're up next on the Savage Nation, Sid.
I just want to say that I was a severely wounded veteran captured in Bastogne and tortured by the Germans. I don't think a woman could have gone through that because they tortured me so much, they beat me so bad that I'm totally blind and paralyzed from all the beatings that I took from them. I don't think a woman could stand up to that.
Who captured you?
The Germans in Bastogne. I was in the Battle of the Bulge. I was wounded 5 times already, and I'm still here. I'm sitting in a wheelchair. I'm confined to it for the rest of my life, and I'd do it again.
How long were you tortured?
Oh, they captured me about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it started to get dark. And the last thing I knew is when they smashed the back of my head open, and they left me to laying in the snow for dead. And the graves registration came along to pick up the dead Americans, and they saw that I was still alive, so they brought me to a field hospital, and I spent a long time in the hospital since then. I'm still going to the hospitals. I'm 90 years old, and I'm still ready to go again.
Well, Sid, that's quite a story. Thank you for your service to the country. That is an incredible sacrifice that played out. Let's go to line 9. Ben is listening on KSFO in San Francisco. Ben, you're up next on the Savage Nation. Hello, Ben.
Yeah, John, first of all, I'd like to salute your last caller.
How about that
service? I appreciate that.
He's blind, in a wheelchair, and he would go back, Ben, and do it again in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I come from a family of warriors just like that. My grandfather was an eyewitness to Pearl Harbor. A granduncle fought in Germany. So believe me, I grew up in the military. My question is...
Hold on. What did your grandfather was an eyewitness to Pearl Harbor?
Yes, he talked about it as a little boy. When the Japanese planes flew over the mountain, he was working on a special project for the Department of Defense, a fuel depot that it was supposed to be a secret fuel depot to supply the Navy with aviation fuel and bunker fuel for the ships just in case they were bombed. But apparently they weren't fast enough. And eventually, he told me the story, and his the boss paid all the crew, including my grandfather, and he gave them instructions. He said if they don't invade in 2 weeks, come back to work in 2 weeks. But he paid them all and said, buy food and ammo and get ready to take your family and flee into the mountains.
Wow. All right, now go ahead, Ben. I find that very, very interesting. But go ahead with your point.
My question is, first of all, saluting John, who got captured in Bastogne. Thank you very much for your service. My question is, war fighting is a dirty business, dangerous to everybody. Major Rhonda Cornum, a flight surgeon, captured first Gulf War. Specialist Melissa Coleman captured first Gulf War. And then Jessica Lynch captured second Gulf War. I mean, my question is, when you lower the standards and you have, I mean, these women can testify you to the brutal rapes and beatings that they faced. I mean, why do you want women in combat? I mean, John can testify you himself. He just said he doesn't think a woman would be able to make the torture. I have to agree with the World War II vet. War fighting is a brutal business. Ask the women that were captured. Ask the women that were tortured. You know, and when Major Rhonda Cornum gave her testimony to the panel in D.C., they were like all shocked and surprised. They're like, no, don't tell us what happened to you, because now it puts a stain on pushing women into the military. Because what do you think ISIS is going to do? They captured an American woman?
No, I understand. Ben, thank you for the call. We'll take more of your phone calls. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. You're listening to the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Hey, our Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust for wealth insurance, gold and silver.
You're listening to the Savage Nation. This is John DePetro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage. Our phone number 1-855-400-7282. Nice parade in Iran. They marked Army Day. Military parade featuring new weapon system and a truck carrying a massive banner. Death to Israel and death to America. Good to see that the president has got them in our corner. You know, it's a tremendous story, though, out of Salisbury, Massachusetts. Dog tags a U.S. soldier lost on a Massachusetts beach 70 years ago had been returned to his son at the same place. The military ID belonged to a World War II veteran who lost them 1939 on Salisbury Beach. And a metal detector enthusiast, those guys that walk along the beach with the black socks after everyone has left, found them after a storm and then was able to track down the owner. The person that had lost them manned a gun during the 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor. Remember, our website is michaelsavage.com. All the latest news, stories. This is John DePetro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage. This is the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
This is The Savage Nation. John DePetro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage. If you'd like to join the program, just dial 1-855-400-SAVAGE, 1-855-400-7282. Log on to the website, michaelsavage.com. Latest news, articles, basically everything. We talk about everything you need to know, including your opportunity to pre-order Countdown to Mecca, the new book coming soon. May 12th, it'll be available. You can pre-order it now, the new book by Dr. Michael Savage, Countdown to Mecca. You can also see many of the other bestsellers that Dr. Savage has written. Interesting story out of the San Francisco Gate regarding the situation in New York City. where they're finding more and more chains. New York increasingly becoming chain store city. They write, you're looking for a Seinfeld-style coffee shop? Well, it's sharing the city with 280 Starbucks and more than 530 Dunkin' Donuts. A good neighborhood deli is now competing with 460 Subways. Amid eye-popping rents and the demise of a number of well-known local haunts, some activists and lawmakers are proposing new rent renewal rights for small businesses they see as saving the personality of the city. What about in your city or town? Should small mom-and-pop type businesses be able to just be charged a certain rent, obviously a lower rent, than some of the chains? Or should it really just be a matter of you let the marketplace dictate, that government should not get involved? It's just a matter of if they want to survive, then they need to be able to compete with the chains. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. On the presidential front, Senator Marco Rubio. How about the story also that talks about, should we have potentially a president and vice president from the same state? You think a latest poll shows Jeb Bush right now as the Republican frontrunner, 17%. Marco Rubio, also from Florida, should we have two people from the same state? But Marco Rubio did an interview, and it's in Spanish, and you're going to hear he speaks absolutely perfect Spanish. But he basically, in this interview, is saying that he supports staying the course, the path that President Obama has laid out with immigration. Let's hear a little bit. This is Senator Marco Rubio.
Un momento determinado va a tener que terminar, es decir, no puede seguir siendo la política permanente de Estados Unidos. Yo sí creo que si salgo presidente va a ser posible lograr una reforma migratoria, no va a poder ser integral, es decir, no va a poder ser todo en un proyecto masivo. Eso ya
His family's already been president. Enough. No, he's not. He's saying basically to go along with the policy. I think that is one of those issues that is going to remain in the forefront for the race for president. As much as people try to spin this, don't you agree illegal immigration still comes down to as a major issue, I think, for Republican voters? As much as they try to spin it different ways, and, you know, the people are already here, and we're just, you know, they're already here, we might as well try to just accommodate them, and we need them for the workplace and everything else. I still think that there's enough people that say it's wrong, it's never going to be right, and they're going to continue to support candidates for president and other offices, but especially for president, that is not going to cave in, is not going to cave to the other side. What do you think? Give us a call. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. 1-855-400-7282. You know, as far as ISIS, which remains in the news, big story right now. How about in Minneapolis? 6 men have been arrested, reportedly being recruited and trying to join ISIS. And this latest video that has emerged, ISIS video, shows execution of Ethiopian Christians. What kind of individual would join an organization like this? I mean, is there any other organization on earth that is as evil, that demonstrates the battle of good versus evil, than ISIS? ISIS terrorists. New York Post released the latest blood-drenched video showing the shooting and beheading of 2 groups of Ethiopian Christians in Libya. You will not have safety even in your dreams until you accept Islam, says a masked fighter with a pistol who insists Christians must convert to Islam or pay a tax prescribed by the Quran. Our battle is a battle between faith, blasphemy, between truth and falsehood. Have we ever seen a more evil organization on earth than this? Well, maybe in Iran. How about the big army day they had? death to United States were some of the floats. Not exactly